When the Celestial Maiden vanished in 2011, it became one of the coldest mysteries on the Atlantic. A luxury cruise lost without debris, distress calls, or survivors. For 8 years, Amara Johnson lived with the quiet ache of not knowing, carrying a postcard from her mother that ended mid-sentence. But everything changes when the ship is discovered perfectly preserved between two towering icebergs, frozen in time. As Amara and her father board the silent vessel, they uncover chilling clues hidden beneath the ice. Maintenance logs, overridden systems, and sealed corporate documents hinting that the tragedy wasn't natural at all, but engineered. Their journey shifts from grief to justice as they unravel a calculated conspiracy, exposing a corporation willing to sacrifice lives for profit. In this frozen graveyard, Amara learns the truth her mother died trying to reveal, and breaks open a secret meant to stay buried forever. Before we go any further, if this is your first time here, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your support means the world and helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Stick with us until the end, and if this mystery moves you, share your thoughts in the comments and pass it along to a friend. You remember the kind of phone call that makes the world tilt, right? A number you don't know, a voice that sounds like someone trying to carry a dozen things at once, and suddenly the thing you learned to live around, the hole, the quiet, the calendar pages that never turned, slams open. That's the moment for Amara. Hallway fluorescent lights flicker above her. Students chatter a soft ocean behind the classroom door, and her phone buzzes. Unknown. She steps out, breath shallow, because for 8 years her life has been a list of small, careful rituals. A sweater folded the way her mother liked it, a lunchbox left untouched in the top cupboard, a photo of two smiles that stopped mid-laugh. 8 years of practicing normal, of pretending a missing person is the same as someone who left on a trip. "Is this Amara Johnson?" the voice says, crisp, formal, but tired. "Yes," she says. Her throat is a dry cave. "This is Lieutenant Sarah Whitcomb, U.S. Coast Guard. We located the Celestial Maiden." The words don't land all at once. They arrive like cold weather, inching forward, then suddenly filling the room. Amara feels the hallway tilt, like the floor under her has become glass. Her dad, Daniel, remembers the call in a different way, as a wrench handed to him in the dark. He hears the same voice, sits down on a metal stool in a garage that smells like oil and old coffee, and a childhood memory of a woman who hummed while she folded socks becomes a sudden present, a paper-thin moment he can reach through. They don't sleep, they pack. They move like people who are practicing for something they never wanted to be good at: grief in daylight, performance at customs. The flight to Newfoundland is long enough for a prayer and too short for answers. Outside the airplane window, the Atlantic looks flat and indifferent. Inside, Amara replays her mother's last text, a smiling emoji, "See you soon," and tries to remember the cadence of her laugh. It won't come. Not yet. When they land, the air cuts through jackets as if it were a blade. Wind grabs scarves, flings hats, and everyone who steps off the plane breathes a slow, shocked breath. The Coast Guard station is brick and efficient, flags whip. Lieutenant Whitcomb meets them with a thin smile that does not reach her eyes. She has the look of someone who has seen many impossible things and learned to keep her face steady. "The ship is lodged between two icebergs," she says. "We expected debris, not an intact hull. We expected an accident, not this." Her voice is careful because the official line is always careful. But she twists a paper between her fingers, and you can see the tension behind it. Amara and Daniel feel it like static on the skin. Limited access, active investigation, families prioritized, but only a few can go aboard. That phrase, limited, is a door. It opens a sliver. Amara catches it and squeezes through. The Coast Guard cutter that takes them north moves like a stubborn animal, pushing past floes that scrape the hull. The closer they get, the heavier the silence becomes. Ice sits like old teeth around the Celestial Maiden. Up close, the ship is obscene in its stillness. Decks stacked like sleeping floors, water slides frozen mid-curve, lifebuoy cradles crusted with rime. Boarding is clumsy, slow. The ladder bites at gloved hands. Breath turns to fog. A deck chair, half buried in frost, looks exactly as if someone paused in sun and never resumed. A hint that time, for those people, stopped differently than it did for the rest of the world. Inside, the ship is a museum of interruption. The vacuum of human noise makes the flashlight beams sound louder than they are. Jackets hang like statues. A child's stuffed animal sits on a staircase landing, its fur stiff with ice. The medical smell you expect at a hospital is absent. Instead, there is a cold, dry smell, like a room that has been shut for years. The first cabin they reach is 309. Daniel has never known whether to keep hope for miracles or to brace for the final weight of truth. He pushes the door. Ice cracks like thin glass. The room exhales a cold breath as the door opens, and inside, traveler's personal life, spared in a snapshot, a half-packed suitcase, a postcard with a smudged stamp, a hairbrush on the bedside table, a note, folded, edges curled. Amara recognizes the handwriting, not sharp, but practiced. The sort of hand that writes grocery lists and quick encouragements. Amara, the ocean is beautiful, it reads. I wish you were here. I saw something strange today. I'll explain when I'm home. The sentence ends like a thought interrupted. Her chest tightens. She feels, suddenly and with a physical shock, the presence of someone who meant to be ordinary and found themselves doing the opposite. They move deeper. The ship wants to teach them how it ended, in quiet lessons. Down a corridor, a maintenance log lies on a workbench, pages stiff but legible. The handwriting is small and deliberate. Milo Grant, junior technician, it says. Examined communications array. Malfunction reported. Access logs show manual override by user credentials not assigned to any crew member. A pause. The word override does not belong in the story Amara learned in school. Ships slip, storms come, navigation errors, systems fail. Override implies intention, someone with a hand on a keyboard and a choice in the dark. There are whispers among the families back on the cutter when they talk in low clusters, like conspirators, or like people rehearsing a grief they've carried alone. They always had financials in trouble, someone says, a woman with a legal folder. Why insure a ship so heavily unless you might need the payout? Another voice, young, sharp, replies, or maybe they hired someone who knew how to make it look like the sea did it. Neither is a thesis. They are seeds. The gossip moves in small, practical waves. Lawyer names, insurance terms, a rumor that a certain operations director had been on that voyage at the last minute. People trade scraps of information the way sailors trade rope, carefully, because every piece might pull someone else into the current. Amara keeps walking. Every step is a study in micro-movement. She grips the railing, tests her boot on the icy floor, breathes shallow. Behind her, Daniel wipes his cheek with the back of his hand like a private apology. They find the corridor that leads to the ship's communications room. The door is ajar. Inside, equipment looks as if an angry storm had passed. Consoles pried open, wires hanging, the emergency beacon casings swung like emptied chests. There's no movie scream here, no dramatic clatter. Just the meticulous record of sabotage. A smashed antenna, a radio crushed with tools. Someone wanted silence, permanent silence. The forensics team moves with clinical tenderness, cataloging, photographing, bagging. Amara watches a technician with gloved hands lift a waterproof pouch from behind a console. He thumbs open a packet and the words "payment schedule" show through a plastic film, then numbers. 6 figures, deposits in offshore accounts. And a notation that reads, "Final confirmation upon total loss." She looks away. The fall from accidental to deliberate is not cinematic. It is arithmetic. Money moves where morality once was. The idea of her mother choosing to go to a deck chair and die is replaced by the brutal image that someone arranged the fate of 350 people like contracts on a ledger. At the far end of the corridor, a small crowd remembers the captain. Captain Elise Romero's logbook lies open on the navigation desk, pages stiff with cold. Her last entries are clear, direct. Course deviation noticed. Communications unresponsive, ordered crew to search for an unauthorized user in systems. She wrote, If this is sabotage, whoever is responsible will be found. That line is a tremor in the cold wood. Amara doesn't read everything. She cannot. She places the postcard back in her pocket as if keeping a piece of heat near her. Outside, as they reboard the cutter, families trade looks that are equal parts terrible relief and new horror. The ship is found, yes, but that discovery is not the quiet end they wanted. It's the opening of a larger, colder wound. As the cutter pulls away, the Celestial Maiden recedes, wedged like a secret between two slow-moving glaciers. Amara presses her forehead against the rail, the salt air stinging, and she tells herself quietly that she came to find the story of a missing person. Instead, she woke a ledger of intentions and promises. The rest of the investigation will take time. It will take lawyers, agents, evidence chains. But already something fierce and human has returned to the surface. The knowledge that the woman who left a postcard with an unfinished sentence did not abandon them. She noticed, she acted, and she was, somehow, impossibly, still trying to help. They will tell the world about the ship tomorrow. For now, they have a postcard, a maintenance log, and a captain's ink-stained hand across a frozen page. For now, Amara will sleep with the note under her pillow, and for the first time in 8 years, she will know that a voice, her mother's, is not gone. It's just been waiting to be read. The next morning starts with a silence so thick it almost feels intentional, like the world is holding its breath with them. A low fog drifts across the harbor, softening the edges of the Coast Guard vessels. Amara stands on deck, hands tucked into her sleeves, staring at the horizon as if it might offer a warning. Her breath makes small clouds that disappear immediately, like they're too fragile to stay. There are murmurs behind her, other families, investigators, journalists held just far enough away, people trying to make sense of everything in hushed tones. "Did you see the insurance documents?" someone whispers. "My cousin said the company was drowning in debt." "And that operations guy? The one who boarded last minute?" Something is off. Amara hears all of it without turning around. She knows how rumors behave, like ice floes, shifting quietly until they collide with something solid. Still, every scrap feels like a shard sliding into place. Lieutenant Whitcomb steps beside her, fastening her jacket. "We'll be boarding again. The interior needs a deeper sweep, and I think there's more you should see." Amara nods slowly. Her heartbeat feels too loud, like it's echoing against her ribs. The ride to the ice corridor is rougher today. The cutter hits patches of frozen slush that knock everyone slightly off balance. Daniel places a hand on the railing, blinking hard, jaw locked. He hasn't said much since yesterday, only small practical things like hold onto the rail and zip your jacket. His silence is heavier than conversation ever could be. When the ship comes into view again, it looks even stranger. A massive luxury cruise liner trapped in a natural vice, its white hull contrasting sharply with the jagged blue ice. The morning light reflects off the icebergs, casting shifting patterns across the ship's windows. Up close, you can see frost creeping along the railings like tiny white veins. The ladder clatters again as they board. The deck crunches beneath their boots, the ice sticking in uneven sheets that make Amara move carefully, testing every step. Inside, flashlights sweep through dark hallways. Frost covers walls in thin, uneven layers, sparkling like tiny crystals. Down one corridor, someone mutters, "Wow, it's like walking through a paused movie." Another person replies quietly, "Yeah, a really creepy one." A faint metallic groan rolls through the hull, the kind that makes everyone stop for a second. The icebergs shift microscopically, like giants settling in their sleep. Lieutenant Whitcomb lifts a hand, signaling everyone to stay calm, and the group continues. They reach the central atrium, and even in its frozen stillness, it's overwhelming. A grand staircase curves upward, but the steps are covered in layers of frost. Tables are frozen mid-dinner setup, wine glasses trapped in glassy ice. A single menu card sits upright, edges stiff, listing meals for a night that never arrived. Amara touches the railing. It's so cold her glove sticks for a split second. Down a side hallway lies the operations deck, the place Milo Grant's logs hinted toward. The door hangs open, pushed by the pressure of shifting ice. Inside, the room is a mess of frozen equipment. Wires snake along the floor, some snapped, some ripped. The air smells faintly metallic, almost burnt. Whitcomb hands Amara a flashlight. Look around, carefully. Anything that's been left behind might help us understand what happened. Near a broken console, Amara finds a set of laminated safety protocols, mostly standard stuff. But tucked between two pages is a folded maintenance request marked urgent. She hands it to Whitcomb, who studies it, frowning. Environmental override. Unauthorized access. Same timeline as Milo's notes. So someone really did this on purpose? Amara asks quietly. Whitcomb hesitates, not because she doubts the truth, but because saying it out loud makes it heavier. It's looking that way, she finally says. They press deeper into the ship. Every hallway feels like an echo chamber. Every step feels like walking through the memories of people who didn't know their final minutes were beginning. The medical wing comes next. Amara slows. Her chest tightens again. Something in her bones tells her this is the place where answers might hurt the most. The medical bay doors stand half open, frost thick around the hinges. Inside, small details hit her first. A clipboard on the floor, frozen mid-fall. A rolling cart with bandages stiff as cardboard. A thermos sitting untouched on a counter. These mundane objects feel like fingerprints of panic. And then, near the far wall, Whitcomb's beam of light finds something, a silhouette. Daniel inhales sharply. Amara's legs feel weak, like someone pulled the floor away. Her mother stands there, preserved by the cold, features peaceful, posture frozen mid-step. One hand reaching toward a cabinet labeled emergency oxygen. Her expression soft, not terrified. Whitcomb lowers her voice. She was trying to help people. Medical staff said she volunteered often. Daniel covers his mouth, shoulders shaking. Not sobbing. Just trying to breathe through a grief that suddenly feels brand new and razor sharp. Someone in the hallway murmurs softly to another investigator, thinking Amara can't hear. Some people freeze trying to save themselves. Others freeze trying to save everyone else. Amara doesn't turn, but she feels the words pierce through her. She takes a small step closer, careful, heart banging against her ribs. She whispers more to herself than anyone else. She didn't run. She didn't hide. She tried. Whitcomb gives her a moment, then gently guides her away, leading them to the ship's bridge. The bridge is a battlefield frozen in place. Navigation screens cracked. Manuals scattered. Captain Elise Romero's logbook sits open on the console, covered in frost dust. Amara brushes a thin layer away. The captain's last words are precise. Systems overridden. Suspected internal sabotage. Attempting to regain control. Will document findings. If this is deliberate, the truth cannot stay buried. The handwriting is steady, a captain's resolve even in chaos. But something else catches Whitcomb's eye. A folder wedged beneath the navigation desk. She pulls it out carefully. Inside, printed emails, financial projections, private memos, all signed by Harper Lynch, Corporate Operations Director. And one memo in bold letters, confidential, accelerated insurance valuation if vessel loss deemed total and accidental. Whitcomb breathes out slowly, like someone finally seeing the monster in the corner. Daniel grips the railing so tightly his knuckles whiten. They planned this, he mutters, voice trembling. Amara doesn't speak. She just stares at the icy window overlooking the silent ocean, realizing that for 8 years, the truth wasn't lost. It was frozen, waiting for someone stubborn enough to come looking. Whitcomb places a hand on Amara's shoulder. There's one more thing we need to check. The operations director's private safe. Her tone is different now. Heavier, but with something sharper beneath it. Determination. Because whatever is in that safe will decide whether this is tragedy or conspiracy. There's a different kind of silence as they approach the operations office. Not the cold, empty silence of the frozen ship, but the tight, waiting kind. Like the walls know what's inside the safe, and they're bracing for the moment someone finally hears it. The door to the office is warped from pressure, but Whitcomb takes her time, easing it open with a careful push. You can hear the ice shear away, crisp and delicate. Amara steps in last, moving lightly, like she's afraid her footprints might disturb something sacred. The room looks like a storm, froze mid-swirl. Papers trapped under thin ice sheets. A desk lamp bent sideways. A mug with tea leaves frozen in a swirl, as if someone set it down moments before panic began. Whitcomb kneels near the back wall. There, she murmurs, tapping a frost-caked steel panel. That's where a director-level safe would be. Daniel lets out a slow breath, the kind that says he already knows whatever's in there won't be kind. Two Coast Guard tech specialists join them, kneeling with careful movements. They heat the outer hinges with small, steady tools. Nothing dramatic, just patience and skill. The ice melts in little droplets, sliding down the metal, falling like tiny notes in a quiet song. It takes almost half an hour. Nobody speaks. Just muffled footsteps and the soft hum of portable heaters. And then, a click. Not sudden, not loud. Just a tired mechanical sigh as the door loosens. Whitcomb opens it slowly. Inside, a binder rests at an angle. Sealed. Thick. Official. A chill runs through the room, and not from the temperature. Even the tech specialists shift their weight, like they can sense the weight of whatever is about to unfold. Whitcomb lifts the binder with gloved hands. Frost breaks away in thin sheets. She opens it to the first page. Amara sees the color drain from her face. Inside are Yakar's confidential internal memos, Yamsh payout projections, insurance negotiations dated months before the voyage, and a set of directives written in clean, corporate bullet points. Daniel leans closer. His brows draw together, disbelief mixing with anger. Whitcomb reads aloud, voice thin. Environmental system override to be executed off-record. Failure of life support must remain plausible as mechanical error. Ship loss totals. Projected payout 189 million Rs non-survivor scenario. Ensures full compensation. Amara feels like the room tilts again. Her pulse stumbles in her neck. She grips the back of a frozen chair to ground herself. No dramatics, no shouting, just a quiet, suffocating realization. Someone didn't just ruin 350 lives. Someone budgeted for it. Behind her, two bystanders whisper near the door, thinking they're too quiet to be noticed. I told you. Corporations don't sink ships, but people do. Yeah, but to trap them like that's cold, man. Too cold. Amara pretends she doesn't hear it, but every word lands anyway. Whitcomb flips deeper into the binder. More pages, more signatures, all from Harper Lynch, operations director. He'd been on board, he'd boarded last minute. He had systems access no one else did. And his final directive, in bold type, reads, ensure full loss. Timeline must prevent return. Daniel's hand trembles as he presses it to his forehead. It's not just grief now. It's betrayal layered over betrayal, years thick. Whitcomb carefully closes the binder. We have what we need, she says quietly. This isn't speculation anymore. This is evidence of intent. The investigators move in, cataloging everything slowly, photographing, marking, logging. Their steps are soft, almost reverent, like they understand this isn't just paperwork. It's the undoing of 8 years of silence. Amara drifts to the window. Outside, the world is brutally beautiful. Icebergs gleam like carved glass. The ocean lies still, pale, reflective. The ship, the one that stole her mother, now feels smaller, like a lie shrinking under the weight of truth. She thinks of the note her mother left her. Something strange today. Her mother saw enough, knew enough, to worry. Maybe even to try and warn someone. Daniel stands beside her, voice gentle but raw. Your mom wasn't just a passenger. She was fighting this, right until the end. Amara nods, blinking against the cold air. She doesn't cry. Not yet. There's a steadiness settling into her bones now, a purpose, as if the ship, in all its frozen misery, handed her something important. When they return to shore, news teams swarm like gulls. Flashbulbs crackle. Microphones push forward. People shout questions. What did you see? Is it true? Were there signs of sabotage? Daniel shields his daughter, jaw tight. Whitcomb steps between them and the crowd, addressing cameras with a calm resolve. We found strong evidence of deliberate system tampering on board the Celestial Maiden, she announces. This investigation will continue at the federal level. Behind her, rumors spread fast, people trading information like currency. Insurance fraud, corporate cover-up, 350 people gone for money? But Amara stays quiet. She knows the truth now, not the sensational version, not the whispered version. The real one, heavy, painful, unflinching. That night, in a small Coast Guard office, federal agents review the binder. Arrest warrants are drafted before dawn. Executives implicated. Accounts frozen. Harper Lynch's name appears again and again on the documents like a stain that won't wash off. A tired agent looks at them and says, "This will change everything." Amara nods once, steady. "Good," she says softly. Because her mother deserved a truth that didn't stay buried under ice. And now the ice has started to crack. As they leave the station, Daniel places a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You ready to go home?" he asks. Amara looks toward the dark horizon, where the frozen ship still waits, silent and spectral. "Yeah," she says. "But the world's going to hear her story first." And she means it. Not with anger, not with theatrics, with something much stronger. A promise that survived 8 frozen years and refuses to be quiet anymore. If stories like this keep you thinking long after the video ends, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and let me know what mystery you want me to uncover next. Your engagement helps bring forgotten stories back to life. And trust me, the next one is even colder than this. Stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next story.